Back at it, working on guitar number 7. The kill switch is next, and I measured it out. It's 11.7 millimeters diameter, and I think I'm going to use this pickguard material here. It's 2.1 millimeters thick, and it's relatively stiff, so if you got a little bit sticking out over the edge here for the button, that should be okay. Here's the button right here, actually, and in a black. Yeah, it's basically going to be an all black hardware guitar, more or less. Now, but then the question is, how big to make it, how far it should stick out. Well, it probably should look, something like that, stick out about that far. And let me see if I can do this. Yeah, see, so here's a button, and the button's kind of like that, and the panels stick out about like that, kind of an idea. So I know this is terrible photography, isn't it? But yeah, that kind of an idea, and then make it maybe about this wide, something like that. So it's like, here, let me do it this way. There's our button. Put the button down about that far from the edge, so it's not too close to that edge, and then put it over about that far from the edge, so it's not too close to that edge, and then make the other edge over here so it's equidistant to both edges. So that'd give us a panel maybe about this wide, kind of a thing. And then it's a question of you just sand it all around and leave it more or less rectangular, and that would be good enough shape-wise and easy to fab up. Then it's a question of how wide to make it. And that brings in the question of what to do about the depth pickguard. Now, there's some really beautiful bubinga under here. And yeah, God, I wish I had some clear acrylic or something like that, because I could maybe cut a little block of bubinga for a stand and finish it like this stuff, and glue that on there, and then have a piece of clear acrylic that went right there, and then maybe run this stuff just in like this, and have it follow the shape and everything, so it'd be just there. You'd see a little bit of wood between the switch plate, or the button plate, I guess you'd call it, and the pickup, and there'd be a little bit of wood here, and then you'd have wood on this side before you had the stand, just a little bit. Yeah, so it'd be sort of framed in just a little bit of bubinga all the way around, and it would follow this shape and these lines here, so it would all match and look correct. And yeah, God, I wish I had some clear plexiglass. Let me go fish. No, I couldn't find anything appropriate. Everything that I was able to come across is a little bit too beat up for this purpose. So I'm gonna have to scout around and figure out something else. Maybe well, let's see. I could do a black. That's one option. It does cover up the bubinga, but if it was on a stand, you could still see the bubinga under it. I've got some copper. I could do a, what kind of height are we talking here? The bubinga is a little under 20 mil thick, and we're looking at, oh, say 23 mil maximum for the height of the depth pickguard. See what we got for a rail here. Yeah, 23 and a half, 23 and a half. Cool, very cool. So yeah, we're probably going to be looking at maybe 20, 21 mil for desirable height for this depth pickguard. And this stuff is 19.4, so could maybe do something like this. Let's see, 19.4. This with that on top. Basically, if you took a piece of this and made a stand out of it, and then made the top out of this, that would be pretty much exactly the right height. That'd bring you in right around 21, I think. Well, let me think about it for a bit. Time to hit this thing up with another coat of oil. It's starting to look a lot better. That takes care of that. Okay, I was thinking that if you took some of this carbon fiber tube and cut like 2 little posts, that kind of an idea, and then took some of this black pickguard material for the top, that would be pretty cool. But I'm worried about CA glue showing at the bottom where you glue the 2 posts on, the 2 carbon fiber posts. So I'm not so sure about that idea. I think about the best I can do would be like some kind of a block made from bubinga and then sprayed with a clear lacquer to match this. Glue the block in there. Use this black pickguard material to make a panel for the kill button. And then for the top, use black pickguard material and do, well, for the top you do a 4-layer laminate of the thick black pickguard material, and then a layer of copper, and then this thin adhesive flexible pickguard material, and then another layer of copper. And you do it trapezoid shape like the area in here, and you make each layer like, oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 millimeters smaller than the previous one all the way around. So you would get an effect kind of like that. Wait a sec, let me get the camera. Let me get this up to the camera. You'd get an effect kind of like this. 3 layers. But then you'd have a 4th layer on top of it, which was copper. And so it'd actually have copper as the final top layer. So there'd be a little copper trapezoid right in here. That kind of idea. And about the only thing about that might be tricky would be getting all the layers to glue down sufficiently flat, I guess would be the way to put it. But I think it would look pretty good, and I can't really think of anything else that I can do that would look any better. So, and it'll take a little extra effort, but this build, I mean, why not put a little more bling onto it if I can? It won't be that much effort, I don't think. I mean, I can just have to mark this out and then carefully cut it out with the coping saw, and then do likewise for all these, mark them all out carefully, and then all this stuff can be cut with the aviation shears, so, and then just glue it all together, and then cut a piece of bubinga for the base. I don't know, something, some piece, something maybe about that size, and squirt it with lacquer, and glue this thing onto the base, and then sand to fit if needed at the bottom, and then glue it into place. Take a little time, but I'm doing this as a hobby, so if it takes a little longer, it's not a big deal, as long as it's worth the time spent. And the labor cost on this project is $0 per hour, so. Okay, I marked out a piece of bubinga here. This will be the pedestal. And I'll probably zap that out on the table saw. As for the pick guard, or the depth pick guard, I think I might simplify it a little bit and just go with a 2-piece laminated with the thick black plastic and the copper on top of it, and not use this stuff. And then just instead of having them kind of like stepped like that, I think instead I'll just put them flush like that, and then sand a 45-degree bevel all the way around. And I think that'll look pretty nice, or at least try to sand a 45-degree bevel all the way around. I think that'll look a little, it'll be a little more sedate, might be a little bit more conservative and more in with the rest of the look of the guitar, because right now it's very straightforward, you might say. So I think I'm going to try that. Time to sand. Helps if you plug it in. Time to sand. Take two. I'll be back. Okay, it's sanded down pretty good. This is some hard stuff, oh my god. Now, on to the top portion. Almost forgot, this thing needs to go into the paint shop. That's the first coat. Wonder how many coats before it'll look okay. I hope it isn't 4 plus polishing and waxing. Okay, took some measurements. This is 60 millimeters wide here, and the body is 70 millimeters wide there, and it's about 97 millimeters from here to here. So I'm thinking do a 90 millimeter length and a 55 to 65 width, and that'll make it not too oversized and will give you just a little breathing space on either end. So I think that's the dimensions I'm going to use, 55 to 65 and a length of 90. Okay, I measured the little stand for the depth pick guard that's over drying, and took my measurement from before for this distance between the neck and the pickup and punched it all into the calculator in order to figure out how far it would be from the end of the block to the pickup, and the math says it should be 26 millimeters. So it looks like a 25 millimeter wide panel for the kill button ought to work just fine, right about there. And so yeah, the kill button panel is going to be about 20 millimeters wide, which is pretty much the same as this thing. And it's going to be 60 millimeters long, and about that, so it's going to be about to where my thumb is, and that much of it's going to stick out. Now it's going to be 25 wide, so it'll be about from the pickup to here, and then the button goes right about there, and that's the plan for that. And then the post will be just right next to it, pretty much, more or less centered between these two. And if it happens to be a little tight, there's always some room underneath the pickup, and I can tuck it up under there a little bit if I have to. And so that takes care of figuring out the size for everything I need to cut out now. Now it's time to get to cutting. I just thought of something even cooler. You take the panel for the switch, and you make it laminated as well with the beveled edge, and you make it come all the way across and make it follow this diagonal edge here, and still make it 25 millimeters wide, and then out here have it come out, instead of being rectangular at this end, have it also follow this edge here, so it's sticks out 20 millimeters here and sticks out 20 here, and that's diagonal, matching that. That's parallel with that. So the whole thing would be a trapezoid shape that's just sticking out a little bit on this edge with the button in it. And it would be black with the copper laminate on the top of it, and the 45-degree beveled edges. And so it more or less match the depth pick guard. And I think that'd probably look pretty cool. It'd be a nice detail, I think. So, I mean, this is assuming that the whole beveled edge thing works, but I don't see why it shouldn't. I cut the two pieces carefully to size and glue them together, and then I can sand the edges with the power sander and get everything straight, and then once again use the power sander to bevel it all. Should work. So, and if I can use that effect for the depth pick guard, there's no reason why I can't use it for the kill button panel as well, and make it look even nicer, I think. So I think I'll do that. So it looks like the new length of the panel for the kill button is going to be about 85 millimeters. So it will come all the way over here, the far end of the pick guard. I mean the pickup. And yeah, and it's still going to be 25 wide. And that'll bring it up to just short of this edge. I want to have, like I was saying before, a little bit of wood showing, like all the way around, to kind of add to the laminated effect. So you'd have wood showing and then black plastic beveled to a copper top. Okay, not real easy to see, but I marked out the depth pick guard and the switch panel, the button panel. That's where the button will go, the center point for the button hole. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut these out. I'm not going to cut the bevels on this thing yet, or the part that slants in. I'll wait until I can get it on the body to get an exact match with the angles on the body. But I'm going to go ahead and cut these out and get them kind of sanded straight edge and stuff. And then I can use them as templates to mark out the copper. And then go ahead and cut the copper with the aviation shears. And this stuff I'm going to cut with the coping saw. And that's going to take a while. I'm not going to bother to film it, I don't think. So I'll see you all in 15 to 30 minutes or something like that. Okay, I got the two panels rough cut. I think I'm going to just hand sand them while I watch some vids. Okay, these are all sanded down and squared off and everything. This one's also been tapered to match the lines on the body. And it's been marked for drilling. And now it's time to use these as templates to trace out the copper. Well, best laid plans. I got these cut out to shape and everything. And it turns out that this is not solid copper sheet. This is actually copper plated aluminum. I don't know if you can tell, but that's silver, that's not copper. Yeah, so this is copper plated aluminum. So my whole idea of doing the bevel thing on the edges isn't really going to work unless I want to expose the aluminum to an even greater degree than it's already visible. There you can see it's silver, and there you can see it's copper. Silver, copper again. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to cut the stuff so it's like just inside the borders. That kind of idea, sort of like what I was going to do originally. I'm just going to do 2 layers of laminate, not 4 like I was thinking originally. And I'll just cut the copper slightly smaller than the black so it looks kind of like that all the way around. Just a couple millimeters border. And that should look pretty good. Okay, got the copper cut to size. Next step is peel off this stuff and glue everything together. And the little stand for the depth pick guard just got its 3rd coat of clear acrylic. Okay, they're all done, cleaned up, and this one's been drilled. Let's see, I cleaned with naphtha, and because of the fact that it's copper plate on aluminum, I was originally planning on like sanding them with 2000 to clean them up, but since it's copper plate I can't do that. So I clean them with naphtha, and then I polish them with polishing compound. And then I wax them with Renaissance wax, and they're quite shiny. So yeah, they're looking pretty good.